Alright, today I wanted to talk a little bit about gaps, okay, and filling in gaps. So it came to my mind as I was watching an indoor game the other day, and, what? Like this?
Yeah.
Okay, an indoor game the other day where the team had a really hard time because they kept leaving these big, huge gaps, and indoor makes it really easy to see. So I'm going to do an indoor one example really quick, and then I'm going to move to an outdoor example. So what I mean by gaps is when you're defending or attacking, if there are huge spaces, big spaces in between each line, then you're going to be in big trouble. Those are what we call gaps. So for example, Cottonwood FC was attacking up here. They'd get the ball down, they're playing at three forwards and 2 defenders. They'd get the ball down here and they'd be attacking, and the defenders would sit way back here by their goal. And that, what you can see is this big giant gap right here. So anytime that they didn't score and the team kicked the ball out, what happened was this person on the other team could take it, and they had a big gap before any defenders were there. They could just dribble at us and we'd be in big trouble. Okay? So when you have gaps on the field defensively, you're going to be in trouble if the offense finds those gaps. Okay? So it was really easy to see in that game. So what should have happened is when these defenders see that, and they step up, and when they do what we call, they fill the gaps. Okay, so they fill the gaps. So if they vacate those areas, then the keeper should also come in here, so any ball behind. Okay, we have to fill in those gaps, otherwise the other team has a lot of time and no pressure to play in. So let's move to the bigger example. Is this still good as far as how this looks?
Yeah.
So think about it, and think about many times last season, in the fall season, we'd get the ball up here. Let's say Brooklyn had the ball, or Morgan had the ball, or Allie or Bailey. They had the ball and they were in here and they're going, trying their best to score a goal. And what would happen is our defensive line and sometimes our center midfielders would hang back really far. Okay? So as you can see, just like from the other example, what happens? We have a big gap. So let's assume we don't score. That ball pops out. This player gets the ball, has all the time that they want. Okay? So what you need to be thinking about during the game, and it doesn't take a lot of effort, it just takes jogging, it takes walking into position, whatever it is we have to be talking to each other about filling these gaps. Our winger's way up here, what should happen? One of these center midfielders, step up here, fill that gap. One of these center midfielders, step up here, fill that gap. How about this outside right back, comes in here, fills the gap. How about this person steps up, fills the gap. How about these two come up to the line and fill that gap? Okay? And then what happens with your goalkeeper? When everybody else is pushing up and filling the gap, you might say, well, what if they kick the ball over the top? Perfect. Goalkeeper, come out, play right here. You're filling this gap in case it pops over the top. What happens is, and I'll just erase this real quick, what you want to see, if you ever watch a professional team play and you really focus on how they play team defense, okay, you're never going to see more than about 10 yards between each line of defense. So if they have their striker here, the next thing you're going to see is you're going to see people right across here, and this is going to be no more than 10 yards. And their defense is going to be right here, and that's going to be no more than 10 yards. We have to keep that idea of 10 yards and being compact and filling in those gaps, because if the gaps occur and the other team has those opportunities, then they have the chance to turn the ball, do whatever they want with it, because they have time and they have space and they don't have any pressure. So we have to be thinking about that. And again, it starts from the back, it starts from the goalkeeper, telling people to push up to fill in those gaps. If you don't have someone behind you and you see one of their players in front of you, go fill that gap. That will make us much better on defense, make us much better on offense too. So when our offensive players are up here, we can't have 30 yards between them and their support. We got to have the support up there too. So think about that as we go into the spring season, and filling those gaps, staying compact, 10 yards between you and the player in front of you. That's the most there should be. All right? Good job.